I'm Josh Cash, and this is Wrong Opinion. I'm in the courtyard of my building. We set up a nice, beautiful shot. I'm here with Ariel Pink. Really good interview. We haven't done it yet, but I know it's going to be good. And we live in a world of busybodies right now. And because we do, busybodies, you know, it's like a feminized society. That's just what it is. So we have this beautiful shot. We can't be here. So the next time you see us in an interview, it's not going to be here. It's going to be in a shittier location. My apartment. It's a good apartment. It just won't look as cool because Miriam in apartment, let's say 30, I don't know, she called and is kicking us out. So there we go. Yeah. We're I gave you some action though. I like how loose this is.
Yep.
And I don't know, we you know, filming outside, I just do things. I don't ask for permission. And we got kicked out.
You don't play by the rules.
I don't play by the rules, and this is why the show is called Wrong Opinion. I'm glad you're here. You were hesitant to come on, and I don't think you're embarrassed for me to reveal that.
Well, I feel like you know, I held out, but I feel a duty at this moment.
Wait, why?
It's just because I feel like Howard Beale. I feel like you know, putting my head out the window and just like screaming the top of my lungs, and you know, I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Yeah.
So
that was a good movie. If you don't know what he's talking about, Network. It's a really good movie.
So yeah, I mean, I just I feel like you know, it really will it'll lose its impact if we do this in 3 weeks.
Okay, why do you think that? What do you think? What specifically are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's we have New Year's coming up, and then I don't know. I think January 20th is the that's the day of the guillotine or whatever, when the head comes off of the king or whatever.
Is Trump staying in office? Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is, I mean, that is the question, right? I mean, but what I'm worried about is, assuming that he does leave office, I'm worried about what's going to happen if he leaves. That's the main question. It's like, because it simply can't exist like on its own merits. I'm really concerned about how people think it's actually going to work in best case scenario.
Well, if he does leave and he doesn't, it seems like he's going to stick around and fight.
He's going to stick around and fight.
And I think he might stay in office. I'm leaning towards he is. I can't imagine.
I'm not trying to bum people out. I'm just trying to.
I know.
I'm just trying to, like, you know, like, let's just give them what they want for 5 seconds. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. The story is as it is.
Sure.
And there's nothing's going to change that. We give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to go down this rabbit hole for a second, because that's really what concerns me. Is nobody's even thought about what they want in this whole thing, you know, and they don't really like.
Well, they want to go back to normal, back to our country being sold to China, back to, you know, basically Americana dying.
Are we going to have mail-in ballots next election?
Well, we need them.
Well, I'm saying, why would we ever not do them again?
It worked. It worked so
perfectly.
perfectly.
It worked perfect. It was an amazing feat. So I think that, you know, there wouldn't be any excuse to not do them again. I mean, why would you just do them once? I mean, that's like, what is that, voter suppression? It took us 150 years to just realize that we could have mailed them this whole time. I mean, what possibly? I mean, why would we roll it back at this point?
Well, I mean, Democrats are known for cheating, and I didn't want this to be a whole Democrat versus Republican
lying. They're known for lying.
Yeah,
not cheating. They're known for lying.
Well, if Trump leaves, then basically the country is over as we know it. It's done. There is no more United States of America. We're going to be sold to China.
But there will be a healthy contingent of the population that will believe that it's still here. So that'll be an interesting. It'll be an interesting a kaleidoscope, I would say, or some sort of alternate reality where people actually still believe that they're in the United States of America and things are up and running.
It's just by name. It'll just be by name.
But just for for a week or something, or for like a few months or something like that, maybe at the most. I mean, I give it. I don't even know how much I get. I mean, I don't see how things can like be, go on. The only I feel like the only reason things are going on as like even now is simply and of course this is just my totally ridiculous fanaticism, but I just think that like Trump being in office right now is the only reason why we're up and running at all.
Oh yeah,
at
I
all.
mean, no, for sure.
I think it's already done as far as I'm concerned.
Unironically, he's the best president in our lifetime, or in the last 100 and whatever years.
He's
I don't know. For a very long time.
We'll never see another one like him. It's kind of like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is the way I describe it. Where like it's like a great idea for a show, like stick Donald Trump into the White House, and then you see it's an amazing idea. Let's see what happens, and it's like a sitcom. But I also think that it was a fluke. It was a mistake. It was somehow.
They would have cheated last election if they thought they had to. They thought they had it in the bag. They thought Hillary was going to win. They didn't need to cheat.
Well, they did cheat. They started this. They've been on the path towards, acquiring these Dominion systems and at least in some regard, some sort of collaboration with China, from what I understand. And so I think that the fact that he didn't win, I mean, the fact that Clinton didn't win in 2016 was literally a act of divine intervention. I don't know how it happened. It was literally because it really would. That was, if that hadn't happened, that there was, we would be, if they had just sort of rushed their whole plot, if they had gotten the systems all in place and all the things set up in time, and then they had their if they had a 4-year smear campaign on Trump, which they wouldn't have been able to do, obviously, but I think that for the purposes that they're for their purposes, I think 4 years of torturing people with Trump outrage was enough to kind of take your average person and sort of just make them feel resentful of him, at the very least, even if they don't know why.
Well, it reminds me of the whole coronavirus thing, where in the beginning we were kind of we not really bought into it, but we're like, okay, we got to figure out what this is, and then we realized it's not that big of a deal. But we have more than half the population wearing masks, especially out in California. People are wearing masks, and there's no evidence that you need to, or that it would work.
But it's the
so you can convince people to do anything, and that's what I've realized with Trump, hating Trump, and then the masks.
Well, I mean, I think that you convince people to do whatever it is that Trump is the opposite of what Trump is doing. It's kind of that's how you sort of corral them into whatever you want to do. If he says jump, you stand still. If he says go to the left, you go to the right. And so I think that I also think that I don't think he has any real control over the narrative and the way that he's depicted in the media. So it's really,
I think he plays the media very well.
No, he does, but he plays to his base, and there's nobody that's that's sort of being persuaded one way or the other. There seems to be just two very, very staunch perspectives, and none of them are really, they're not having a dialogue or anything like that. They refuse to talk to each other, I think that actually Republicans are perfectly happy, or Trump supporters are more than happy to speak to Democrats, but Democrats are not listening.
Is that something you've noticed with your fans or your audience? Have you felt a backlash? or like, do they know that you even think this
noticed,
way?
You know what I realized is that like everyone I know, everybody that I've grown up with in this town, most people, I mean, like save a handful, like less than, like I can count them on one hand. The people that I know in my life, and I know a lot of people, they're not politically motivated. They just don't like politics, and they have a very just. Even I had a very sort of dismissive attitude about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Last time I voted was for Nader in '99. I mean, I learned my lesson. I never voted again, and so I got in the habit of just sort of saying that I vote for the winner, basically, because I didn't really care as long as we had some strong
consensus.
As long as there was like some NPC, like, or whatever, some sort of like some sort of scarecrow that's like, taking the position, and there's a president there, we can have I was perfectly happy.
Well, typically people moved on with their life after they didn't really.
They just, and I did too. I mean, I was like, we don't need I don't even care who the president is. As long as there's like a standing president, I'm supportive of them. And I still feel that way to a certain degree, except that I can't, I'm a new man, and my eyes have been opened. And it's really not even, I mean, for me, it's the irony, or what makes it more poignant for me, is that I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, and I didn't expect anything from him when he entered office. I didn't think he was going to be better or worse than anybody else. I figured that, he was probably going to end up better than he was being depicted as.
Sure.
He was maligned like from the beginning, and he was just villainized, like. So I thought that could only help his case. He was going to be better than he was expected to be. So, but I was pretty floored when the narrative about him never let up in the media. Like, I mean, it just got worse and worse and worse. And it struck me as being extremely odd. Not because I didn't think that there was anything that had anything to do with him. I just thought I was noticing the absolute consistent, unrelenting hate for the guy. And everywhere any magazine I read, any kind of news, everywhere, he was just being villainized. I mean, just across the board. And so I decided to listen to what was so terrible about him, and I started listening to sound bites at first, and they were pretty funny. I
think he's hilarious.
I think he's like a regular Don Rickles. So,
yeah,
so
exactly. And Rodney Dangerfield.
He's so. But also, what I was noticing was that all the sound bites that the media was using to sort of justify their sort of generalized, non-specific, execution of his character. I mean, they just hated him so much. It's just.
Well, that it's telling when every leader hates him. When
but they don't hate. They hate him. There's never any kind of like, he did this. Can you fucking believe it? Like, it was always just like, he's lying.
Yeah.
It's like he did. Okay, so what is he lying about? I mean, he seems to be a very, very brash person. Like, I mean, he doesn't need to lie. He can just basically offend you to your face.
Yeah.
It doesn't
he's very straightforward.
Doesn't seem like he's. Are you saying that he's a nice guy? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, is he like he's lying to you about his being an asshole? It's it just didn't make sense. There's just so many. They're at people's. I wanted to understand what people were reacting to, and what I realized is that there was nothing specific. There's no policy that he was making. There's no decisions that he was making that were offensive to these people. They weren't even paying attention. Mm-hmm. There was just literally just like the abuse on the part of the media on the people is just literally like hitting them over the head with outrage, like with the idea that like he's terrible, and that's and people like just they project that
they regurgitate
that torture.
It, yeah.
No, it's torture. It's because it's actual literal torture when the media and everything that you see around you is clamoring all day long about how terrible he is, and you start to and people just basically like. We're talking about these like just these two-dimensional. I mean, people that I know, my friends, almost everybody I know is completely just sleepwalking. I mean, like they don't see it, and moreover, to add insult to injury, just to like I started watching unedited briefings that he made,
right,
and that's when it occurred to me that everything he says is right. Like everything he says is actually right on, spot on. He makes the exact right assessment. So not only is everyone also like wrong, but he's always right. Mm-hmm. And it left no room for any ambiguity. It just seemed like, oh my God, this is like Night of the Living Dead or like Attack of the fucking Zombies. Mm-hmm. It made no sense whatsoever. Like where do these dead people just rise up from? Like it's like the invasion of the body snatchers. I mean, it's just I don't know where these people are, and I don't know how they can. I don't know how they can live with themselves, and I don't know. I wonder if they know that they're lying.
They're useful idiots.
But I mean, really, like they're not even useful. I mean, like they're useful. Do you think that they know that they are complicit in a fraud?
No.
I mean, like let's not call it a fraud. Let's not call it a fraud. Do you think that they actually believe anything that they say, or do they know that they're being extremely disingenuous?
No, I think that they think they are being virtuous. And they think he's a literal Nazi, and they think that this over 70 million people that voted for him are racists. They believe that, which is actually scarier than if they believe the other side.
But I mean, they must know that like there was I think the average Joe, because if you go on Twitter and you see, you get the types. Like I mean, like they all fit the profile of the type of person that would sort of be complicit and sort of like almost kind of blindly or like or aloofly kind of like part they're taking part in this sort of like massive sort of like deception. Mm-hmm. Like they're doing their part. They pile on. Everybody piles on. Sorry, everybody piles on everybody. With whatever opinion. It doesn't even have to be about Trump. It really is they act just like the people in the polls. Okay?
It could be about global warming. It could be about
it could
abortion.
be anything. It's literally. I was reading yesterday everybody's comments about the Elle magazine article about that reporter or that journalist who ended up having a romance with Martin Shkreli.
Oh yeah.
And now everybody and their mother just comes out and just bullies the crap out of her. Like I mean, like God forbid she, is a victim of this guy according to them.
She was brainwashed.
But they just can't help themselves. They just have to tell it like it is. They're gonna like weigh in on their opinion and just make her life a living hell. Make her out to be a terrible person because of who she might have a fancy for.
Well, that's what social media has done.
But that's what I'm saying. But I don't think it's social media. I think it's democratic media. Okay, like it really panders to that.
That's what social media is.
But Republicans don't really like they don't waste their time virtue signaling and all that kind of stuff.
Conservatives want to be kind of left alone.
Yeah,
and that's why it's actually hard to convince younger people to be a conservative.
That's also why it's also why you can't why you have to basically like shut the whole thing down. You know, as an adult, you just have to basically be like if Trump knew it was good for him, he would be like, okay, come January 20th, you know, he'd be like, okay, I'm not giving you the keys.
I know. Feel like that's what's gonna happen.
I know you. I know
I'm
you.
not kidding.
I know you. I know you. We won this. I know you won the elections. I know you. I know that that's what you think is okay. And that's. But I'm just gonna put an end to that right now. It's not happening.
Yeah, show me the 81 million people that voted for Biden. I would love to see it. I think the number is really 30 million, maybe 30 million, and they're all in LA, New York, other big cities. That's it.
The problem is you can't tell. There's no way to tell. That was exactly what was the point. That's what the brilliant plan was. The only fraud, in my opinion, that happened, the only one, and I wish that Trump would just focus on that rather than sort of like going through the specific instances, all the instances, because there's so much.
Right.
But really, just the mail-in ballot, the idea.
Oh, yeah.
The idea.
I agree.
That's the only. That was the only thing. And we have to go back. We should go back to it. People should realize that the Democrats knew what they were doing. They were 6 months out. They were talking about mail-in ballots, pushing them through,
and how important the U.S.
And he was already he was saying no, it's going to create this. It's gonna be rife with fraud, and everybody just told him to shut up, be quiet. He's lying. He's lying.
He's always lying.
He's always lying.
Such a liar.
He's such
Trump.
a liar.
Did you know that?
But if they had any integrity whatsoever, they could have made sure that they put in place a system or did the fail safes to actually quell his worries, because this is our president. If he's got if he's gonna dispute the results of an election just by proxy, you want to basically have the argument right there perfectly and he gave fair warning. He's gonna be paranoid about it. They could have done everything in their power to sort of make it airtight and to.
No, they didn't want to.
No, they
encouraged other people to.
No, they just basically they ignored him. They told him to shut up while they go doing their thing, and they just basically stoked the paranoia even more. Mm-hmm. If there was anything to it, if they're saying that there's nothing to the and obviously there was something to his paranoia, because we haven't had mail-in votes for 150 years and more. I mean, we've had the postal system for 150 years, but we haven't done mail voting in that time. No. Why not? Why?
And we had the Spanish flu 100 years ago. People still voted in person.
We haven't had it. Why? You're telling me that we could have done mail voting this entire fucking time? What stopped us all this time? What stopped it? What could possibly be the excuse for stopping us?
Well, typically, presidents, didn't matter which side they were on. They were still globalists. They still didn't really care about the United States.
I'm saying if people were electing,
Trump happened.
But I'm saying for every other president that we've ever had, where the people vote. Mm-hmm. Why did they have to be there in person? Why couldn't we mail in our votes in the 1800s? I don't know. What was the excuse given? I mean, if we could have been doing it from the comfort of our bedrooms.
Yeah. It must have been so hard.
It's voter suppression. It makes no. Why? What was the excuse given? Oh, you have to do it in person just to make sure that you take your luggage to the fucking to the conveyor belt, whatever. It's a way for the person that's voting to have insurance that their vote gets to the right place, right? Because they're supposed to be the paranoid ones.
Yeah. Have you in all the recent interviews you've done, maybe let's say in the past 4 years, have you been this outright about your position on him, or have you skirted?
Yeah. No. I've been outright. I've been, but people don't really
believe you.
They think that I'm a troll, and they think that I don't.
Why?
Because maybe that's the only way that they can see me and still give me a pass or something like that. I don't know. I think they like to see me as a ridiculous figure, and I think that's to my benefit and also to my dismay. I also think that I got the Trump treatment before Trump did. and so I pretty
You were
much,
getting canceled.
but I wasn't canceled. Like, I mean, I was getting.
They tried.
I was being. Yeah, I was being. Publicly shamed and.
For what?
For any number of things, because I have a loud mouth. I have a big mouth, and there was quite a few episodes in the earlier years, I guess, in interviews where I was very unguarded and it was so boring for me to do interviews and have to answer the same exact questions every time that the implication was that the implication was that like I should be the one again to make it interesting, like if I was going to count on the interviewer to come and make me sound interesting, or ask some interesting questions that they sort of like probed a little bit beyond the surface, I was going to have to do it myself, and which really pissed me off because I felt like I've already been creative. This is your time now. It's like, but really what they do is they ask you the same questions, and they do a little research beforehand. They look up what kind of questions you were asked before,
and they do them,
and then they ask you them again so that you can confirm the things that they read, because they wouldn't ask you about. They're not curious about anything.
Well, journalists are not impressive people for the most part.
But they're not curious about you. They're not curious about me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want, they don't know what to ask me, for instance. They're scared to ask me because they don't know and they don't care, really. Mm-hmm. And they also it's really weird to ask somebody something personal about them, because it's kind of like a no-go zone in a weird way. I respect it. I appreciate that nobody actually cares about me, and that they basically were just erring on the safe side, but they were just phoning it in for their job.
Right.
Okay. They could have probed a little bit more, but nobody's asked me about my politics. They've asked me the same exact questions, which is, how did the Animal Collective discover you? How do you record? How do you
I wouldn't even know what to ask.
What are your favorite bands?
Yeah,
what are you listening to nowadays? Like all this stuff that I refused to answer after a while because I was just really like look it up.
My only music question for you is it possible to convert a band, let's say like the Strokes, to not be socialist idiots? Is it possible? Because I feel like those guys might be cool. I tried.
And
if they only knew a little bit more.
I apparently I did have an impact when I spoke to Julian Casablancas last time. I recommended the Yuval.
They're very Bernie, those guys.
The Yuval Harari book. Yeah, I know.
Oh, Homo Sapiens?
Homo Sapiens, yeah, and it changes his life, he said. So I don't know.
So specifically, what about that book do you think would have?
Probably because he was gay, because the author was gay. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying. I mean, I think it's. I was just reading that at the time, but it's not like it's a controversial. That controversial is a.
No, it's not.
It's got some edgy qualities to it. This whole thing, but I actually think it's a pretty good take.
Yeah, the way to convert someone, if you guys are wondering, is not, don't come at them very hard, don't hit them over the head with a hammer, just give them little red pills without them knowing, and then slowly they'll convert before. And it sounds like this is a cult. This is not a cult. I'm not talking about that. You're saving them. It still sounds like a cult. It's not.
I feel that there's actually, you can't do that. You have to be tough love dad, and basically kick them out of the house.
Well, with friends though, I would treat them differently.
No. But friends, you have to do exactly. You have to say, we're not friends anymore. You have to starve them. Have
you ended friendships over politics, or is it mostly people ending it with you? I've been dumped.
I've recently. I've had to. I don't hold grudge. I don't have like a bad, resentful bone in my body. I can't hold grudges for very long because they weigh on me. Mm-hmm. So if I squash beefs for the most part, But part of me was very saddened and to learn the degree of insincerity and sort of like, you know, this sort of like blasé aloofness that like is emblematic of the left, man. Like it's like it spills over into everything. Like, okay, like let me give you an example. Like, for instance, the relationship between Israel and Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like, you know, a hot topic for you know, very sort of, you don't want to touch it kind of issue for the past 20 years, right? Maybe more. But the USA has been Israel's ally, and Israel does not exist really without.
Right.
So it goes without saying that we, you know, they're there because of us. So we're their ally, always. Have always been. Somehow, and I blame it on Obama primarily, the whatever kind of press was, you know, they got like Israel got like a sort of a wave of bad press for some, you know, for some attacks or some sort of some shootings in Gaza and some violence or no, not Gaza, but in the West Bank. And so it all of a sudden started to appear that it was a very unpopular take to support them, you know, and there was no, you know, I mean, there's no diplomacy, there was no real like president that was like willing to like basically like, or knew how to sort of like bring the two of them to the table and work on it. It was just sort of like they were just kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of like we don't want to touch that, you know, that their beef goes back a long way. It's best not to involve ourselves. We've tried. Looks like they don't. Both of them. We don't even know what's going on there. They're having their relationship spat, and we don't have an opinion. We're out. Right. We're out. We just won't. We're obviously allies with Israel, but we just let's just take an 8-year break from like publicly addressing admitting that we actually are allies with Israel, just because we're not going to stoke the Muslim fires and all that kind of stuff. Right. So it's so that's what Obama decided to do. That was what that vacuum did, was make, you know, that gave the signal to BDS, boycotts and divestments, to go gung ho on their campaign of agitprop. Basically, like it's almost like a kind of like a green light to go and fan the sort of like the international opinion, fan the fires of international disdain for Israel, and they did it without any kind of without any pushback from any entities. So they basically, so BDSM got their foothold in Europe, and they successfully managed to, you know, make Israel sort of like a persona non grata, and they alienated them, and they had these targeted ways of, and I dealt with BDS firsthand on 3 separate occasions, because, you know, as at any band that plays in Israel.
So you played in Israel?
Yeah, 3 times. And on those 3 separate occasions, I experienced the wrath. I mean, they had targeted. Their tactics are exactly the kind of Antifa mob rule that's so familiar to us now. It's this targeted campaign where, like, they basically they find out that I'm booked to play there. So as soon as I'm booked to play there, they they send their troops out, and they try to get you from every angle. Okay, and they bad cop, good cop you. They do the whole thing, and they're very successful at it. Very successful. Like,
well, it's good you didn't bend the knee.
Well, I'm Jewish, dude. I mean, my name's Rosenberg. What do you? Of course, I mean, why would I bend the knee? But the thing is that, like, people capitulate to that
all the time.
I mean, Roger Waters is like completely batshit crazy now, and he basically nobody
another
will
brick in the
play.
wall, you know?
Nobody will play there, and it's lost on people. And what I'm saying is that all it took was a businessman to get in there and go, hey, it's in your best interest. Come to the table, talk to these guys, and then you talk to the other guy. It's in your best interest. Come on, guys, we sit down.
Yeah.
Take any two Arab nations, or any one Arab nation, and have them sit down at the table with Israel to acknowledge that Israel is a state.
Yeah.
Because the whole issue is that nobody wants to acknowledge that they even exist.
It's like Taiwan to China.
But if you have Sudan or you have the United Arab Emirates, which are not directly adversaries with Israel, if you have them making a deal with Israel and acknowledging the state of Israel by proxy, because they're sitting down for a deal and they've come to some sort of trade agreement, whatever it is, it acknowledges it totally undermines BDS's whole point, which is that the occupation of Israel is illegal.
Right.
Is not a real thing. So they dispute, they argue against, and they have the whole backdrop of the Arab world that basically had not made any agreement with them. So if you start to have some Arab nations, maybe distant ones, getting into agreements and acknowledging Israel on any level, you get one, you're gonna get two, you're gonna get three, and that's all. The point is that it just took a businessman to come in there and grab them by the collars, make them understand how it's in their best interest if they get along, stop the fighting. It took an adult.
Yeah, and
took it like an adult.
Yeah.
Because it was childish. But every single president that we've ever had has been they're so dumb
and weak.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
They're dumb. They're straight up. They are democratic dumb. They're dumb. They're they have no vision, no vision, no ideas of their own. They think that people can can continue on having their beef indefinitely, and they can just basically ignore it. All they need to do is basically just drop the toxic person from your life and walk on. You don't need that anymore. Don't ever talk to them ever again. Yeah. Don't ever give them an inch. Don't ever call them back. You never let them back in.
Well,
all this kind of stuff. This talk is such fucking. It's first grader. It's childish. You need to settle. You need to actually settle beefs. Okay, let me just say, you need to. The sooner you can take care of them, the better. Yeah. But you need to settle. Those things bite you in the ass later on.
To me,
it's prolonging an unnecessary, beef. So,
to me, Obama was. It's funny how people like to say Trump is a game show host and he's just a celebrity and he likes the attention. Obama liked the attention more than everyone. To me, he was like an e-girl. And he's still to this day
he's awful.
is on Jimmy Fallon or whatever all the time, and he likes the attention. He's an e-girl, and then finally, after probably since Teddy Roosevelt, we finally have a man in office who's a man and is getting shit done. And it would be a shame if he doesn't fight back and stay in office on January 20th. I still think he will.
I'm surprised. The only thing I'm what I wonder is, how, I think Donald Trump's his only flaw is that he wants people to love him too much, and that's his weakness. It is the weakness is that he's
trying to please everyone.
He's trying to make everyone happy, and I think that I think it really encourages him that he has such a rabid fan base, and I think it really it is what makes him feel like what he's doing is right.
Well, he got the most real votes in history.
Absolutely, no,
real votes.
And I mean, and I don't know, I don't know what happens afterwards. I mean, I'm gonna. I don't. There's.
Well, I wanted to ask you because you grew up here in Los Angeles, and
This place used to be great, but
I've lived here for
terrible.
just 10 years, and the amount I've seen such a shift in 10 years that. No, can you get me the food?
Yeah. Should we have to? Should we take a marker pen and blot out the?
No, I don't care.
Thank you, chicken.
So I feel like I can still ask you while you eat, or you don't want. Okay.
No.
So I've lived here for 10 years, and the change I've seen, the shift I've seen in just 10 years has been so drastic. I've never experienced it anywhere else that I've been. And so you've lived here your whole life.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
In the past 4 years, the whole thing just went everywhere. Everything went. I don't know if people like believe that like. Well, people have like a lot of. Since I've been here my whole life, I've seen like the sort of like the. There was no gradual change. It was more or less like all of a sudden, all at once, about 10 or 15 years ago. There was like this huge exodus from New York, or this influx of people from I don't know where, and this became an it town. We must have gotten some sort of publicity, like in some magazine or something like that, where like all of a sudden they're like, yeah, this is the town. And so all of a sudden people started coming here.
It was the show Entourage on HBO that did it, I think. No, I'm kidding.
No, you might be. It was that. It was in some ways it was me. In a little way. Because there was no indie labels out here.
Mm-hmm.
There was an Interscope. There was like all the big ones, but there was no indie labels here yet. It took New York discovering me.
Mm-hmm. Well,
for LA to pay attention.
I felt that there was an influx of musicians coming from Australia, too. Like they were all coming here. They weren't going to New York. They were really coming
Well,
here.
it makes sense because if you drain the waters, we're kissing.
True. That's cute.
Yep.
I like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's been such a shift, and I'm heading out. I'm gonna have a baby. I'm heading out. I'm not raising him here. I don't want them to turn him trans. He's a boy. He has a dick. I've seen it on the what's it called? The thing. You know the thing. And so I'm not raising him here. Do you see yourself staying here, or do you plan on leaving? You've been here your whole life.
I have a really my family's here. It's the only reason I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised to be close to my family. It was just I'm like it's all I know. This is the only reason I stay here. The only reason I'm here now is because they're here. But if that weren't the case, I would have been out of here.
Yeah.
Where
would you live if not here? Like you've traveled the whole world. Where would you live? Because I've never been to Japan. I kind of feel like I would go to Japan. Or Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, maybe. I really like Texas. I think Texas is big enough rich enough that it could secede and.
Do you think that will happen? Because we're so divided now, and I know people say that all the time, but it's actually true. Like we've never been this divided.
I might go to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Isn't China asshole?
But I think you live nice. And I love Chinese food. And
have you ever had dog?
No. And I've never had monkey brains either. But Rwanda, ironically.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You did mention that.
Yeah, that's where I'd probably go.
All the liberals who say if Donald Trump won again, wins again, I'm leaving. They always say it to Canada. They never say to.
You can't go to Canada. They won't let you there. You can't even go. That's the thing that they don't understand. There's this idea that like you can open the borders, and people don't understand that if you do that, you're declaring war on Mexico and on Canada. In fact, you're making Canada declare war on Mexico by virtue of the fact that you've opened up the borders. Okay, so it makes zero sense, and people take it for granted that they if you have a drunk driving charge.
Oh yeah,
on
you
your
can't
record,
go.
you can't even go there to visit.
You can't. Yeah.
So forget about.
But if you're a
going to-
Somalian terrorist, you can go there. You can live there. It's fine. But they always say the whitest countries. They say, we'll go to Iceland or Norway or whatever. They never say Rwanda. So I think that's actually interesting that you say that.
I know they must be racist.
I didn't say it.
No, they're racist.
I didn't say it. They are racist.
They're racist.
They are. They live in the whitest areas.
Rwanda is one of the top 3 cleanest, safest countries in the world right now.
I didn't know that. Actually, you did mention that when we had dinner. We had dinner a few weeks ago. He saw I'm the real person, and then he decided to do the podcast. You mentioned also how, and I'm jumping all over the place, but you mentioned how you've been invited to be in movies or other interviews or whatever, and it was a bait and switch, and they totally just change shit on you, and you don't trust people.
Yeah.
Why does that happen to you? I hope I didn't do that to you, but why do you think that happens?
I think because I don't have a manager, and because I'm somewhat available. You know, I'm accessible. I'm just a person, so people can actually. But I'm also elusive in some regards.
Yeah, but I think that why aren't they straightforward with you? That's because that's bizarre to me. That kind of behavior.
What straightforward? I mean, anybody that like even anybody that thinks about me and feels bold enough to like get in contact has their own agenda. They have their interest that supersedes anything that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So their interest is there. It's like these spirits that surround me, and I don't know about them. They know about me. Do they take the plunge and like and contact me and expect? But then how do they interact with me? Do they? If some people are like, you know, fool let me on red, you know, like all this kind of stuff. Like I mean, like they just like, you know, they pressure me. They're just jerks, man. I mean, fans are the worst. I used to be cool with them. I was like, yeah, that's my team. It's my fucking team. No. New friends, everything is just like it's just an invitation for a future enemy.
Yeah. Well, the older I've gotten, the more I realize that the more people you have around you, the more dead weight you have around you, and that goes with if you're famous, if you're not famous. That's a really
not even dead weight. You have liability. Mm-hmm. You have you're compromised. You're actually if you hold more than a few people as your, you know, if you stay true to, you know, to less than, to more than like 10 people at the most, you're pretty much spreading yourself too thin. Mm-hmm. And you're also just you're subject to being compromised, and you're going to have a rude awakening.
Yeah, you know, one thing I was thinking, and this is a reason I mentioned earlier that I wanted to have you on, is because you don't look like the person who would be who would align with me politically. You don't look like a Trump supporter. You don't look like someone who would revere conservatism or anything like that. And I thought that it would be an interesting take to have you on. And I like to judge people by how they look. It's just, I think it's another good rule of thumb, because typically that's a good indicator.
Yep.
And
I agree.
And what I've noticed is, and I wanted to get your perspective on this, because most of the people I see online who are simping for e-girls or looking at OnlyFans or porn or anything like that are typically people on the left. And I feel like you've had a lot of interaction with those types of people. I wanted to know your thoughts on e-girls and porn and simping and all of that. And I know that these are internet terms, but I feel like you'd be familiar with them. And do you think that it's that big of a problem? I think it's a huge problem.
I don't know what simping and I don't know what e-girls are.
Okay, e-girls are like girls, Instagram models who like attention, and then simping is like dudes who are horny and who jack off to porn all the time and who send them money, or like on OnlyFans, they send them money and they they give them their attention, and they don't. There's no how do you say it? Reciprocation.
No, there's no.
Yeah, reciprocity. There's no reciprocity or anything, and I feel like that's a huge epidemic. That's the real pandemic.
Well, I mean,
with young dudes.
I suppose.
I think those people are. Typically,
I'm as you know, as somebody that like, you know, is in the position of, you know, arguably like, you know, I may as well be have my own OnlyFans and be like, you know, this receptacle, you know, of people that like, you know, are simping me, and I don't respond to them, and I mean that's why. I mean, like, sometimes I'll be nice because I have to be nice.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you give them an inch, and they take a mile. It's like you don't want to encourage them at all.
Yeah.
And they don't understand, and they get upset, and they get weepy, and they get like, you know, like kind of like I mean, extremely. But you don't want to, you know. Also, dealing with people in person, you'd be surprised. I mean, like I've had lots of. I've had a real schooling with working with different people, and what I find is that you never know. It doesn't matter what background a person has. It doesn't matter how rich they are, or how desperate they are, or how poor they are, or how young they are, or how older they are, or successful or not. There's no way to know what somebody's, you know, what somebody's boundaries are, basically, or like what will offend somebody and what won't offend somebody. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Like I mean, if you, until you basically come across, you know, like basically make the mistake of stepping over the line with them, you don't know what somebody's like threshold is. Like some people, like some people will do everything for you and do the best work possible. They won't charge you a fucking thing, and they work all the time and they're fucking around, and they're just like, you're just like, oh my god, I owe this person my life, because like mm-hmm. they basically are doing everything, and they're so talented, and they just basically just are so amazing, and they don't ask for anything. And then there's people that like, you know, you hire them, and the first day that you hire them, you know, you sort of learn that they're kind of fucking full of shit, and basically they don't have any experience and all this kind of stuff. And you know, a week later you're getting like you're being sued. You're being sued because they fucking have a career and they think that they're doing you a favor, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. And there's everything in between too. There's just certain people, eventually they get offended by something that you do. If you basically, once you do it, it's just like about like how you handle it. You have to basically work with people and not try to be antagonistic. You want to basically work and try to you know, give people their autonomy and respect them. And that's so being a diplomat has been part of what I do, mm-hmm. in my opinion. I mean, like it's it didn't come naturally to me. I wasn't always this way. I wasn't always even social. I learned late in life, but I liked people. I like people, and I realized that, like, you know, people. I think people have come with a set of expectations and their own kind of like baggage whenever they come to me, and to me, I always want to, like, kind of like, you know, if I thought that people were, like, you know, interested in me you know, for superficial reasons, I'd probably kill myself. You know, I wouldn't talk to them.
Right.
So I kind of like, I've always been in my own bubble, and I kind of like ignore it, and I like to think that people, that the musician goes to sleep. You know, that I don't have the public image in my mind of me. You know, like, I don't know what people see. So I like to think that, like, you know, relationships I have with people are like genuine and like they like me for me. Mm-hmm. That's what I hope for, you know. But it never ceases to amaze me just how full of shit people are, and how violently mean they are. And
do you think that is the type of industry you're in? That it's exclusive to the entertainment industry,
no.
Or it's just in general?
I think it's the rule. I think it's a world full of children that are very emotionally stunted. I don't think there's a lot of there's no.
I think that's a new phenomena, by the way. I don't think that.
I think it's not a new phenomenon. I just think that like I think people have been like intelligent and deep and like and all that kind of stuff too. But I think they're very rare, more rare than we think.
Well, this is my theory. Because of the advancements of technology and medicine, we've created an environment where the weak that used to die off really quickly are now able to survive. So now they are diluting the world population, which used to be small, and it used to be the survival of the fittest and the smart people who built amazing civilizations. And now it's like we have 8 billion people in the world. Most people are dumb. They're not evil.
No, but even
they're not evil.
Even
They're
the people that I thought were smart.
Like who?
Like anybody. Dude, I mean, just like the smartest people in the room. You know what I mean? Like the smartest people, the people that have been like have illustrious long careers. Scientists.
I wanted to talk about this, by the way.
All these people that like basically that anybody that can basically be an American, for instance, and or even be a European or whatever, but like actually not, but still be a Democrat at this point. That to me is seeing. I mean, are they not seeing? They're not paying attention. To me, it's like all of a sudden all their intelligence just got shown to be a complete farce. Mm-hmm. All the smarts in the world that they had, all their autistic fucking genius
to waste.
is completely. It was just caca.
A facade.
It was just window dressing. They have no idea about. I'm like my dad's a doctor. He's a great doctor. There's lots of good doctors. There's great, follow the science. I mean, it's the kind of like what they've always been saying. I mean, he's not. I'm not suggesting that everybody go against what is being, sort of suggested out there.
I do.
But I'm not. But I spoke to my dad yesterday. I was asking him about because my stepmom has COVID, and he said that I was asking him. I was like, how can we get the vaccine for Brigitte? And he's like, that's a nice thought. She's sick right now, so she's gonna have the antibodies, and it'll be in about 3 months. She'll have to take the vaccine. And I was just like why? Mm-hmm. I mean, if she already has the antibodies, what? Why is she? What is the other one for? Mm-hmm. What is it in 3 months? But he's like, it's a booster. It's kind of a booster. It just gives her more antibodies. I'm just like, are you saying that so she's gonna have to are we all gonna basically? Is everybody gonna have to get a booster? Get vaccinated 4 times a year? Is that the idea? Because just to stay on top of it. Do you develop an immunity or not? I mean, what is the?
And it sounds like he. And not to disparage him, but that he pulled that out of his ass.
No, he was just saying what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, doesn't that sound suspicious? I was like, how does that make sense? I mean, based on what we know about viruses, I mean, okay, and the vaccine itself doesn't actually stop you from getting the virus, and it doesn't stop you from transmitting the virus. It just stops the symptoms. But asymptomatic carriers are the whole thing, right?
Yeah, they're most of the majority of people who have it.
Well, that's the majority of the spread of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that's just fact. That just seems. I mean, if you go if you scratch the surface, that's wrong. That can't be right, because if asymptomatic carriers are basically responsible for the whole thing, then it's basically there's nothing we could do about it. And basically, it'll go around and there'll be herd immunity, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially, you're saying that we get the virus and we really don't get it again. Oh no, you can get it again. You can get it again. So your immunity only lasts a little amount of time. They keep on shifting the goalposts. It flies in the face of all of the things that we've known up until now.
Right.
And so as a person that's there for this, like follows the science. When you hear that, follow the science.
Or you don't believe in science?
Science has flown the coop. Okay, science has aligned itself with a political ideology, and it's no coincidence to me that like nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore because it's a political fucking thing, dude. There's a.
But that's why I don't believe experts.
But science is science. I was skeptical of everything. I mean, I believed in science. I wasn't about I never rallied against climate change or like climate science, but you really do have to wonder now if all of that stuff was bullshit. And in my opinion, it probably is because if it's because literally everything that the Democrats stand for, every single platform, is bullshit. Like it's so Trump for me is like an indictment on anything bullshit. Mm-hmm. That's my condition. My condition is like I'm one of these guys that like I'm so gay for Trump. I will let him. I turned him gay. I'll let him fuck me in the butt.
There you go. That's an exclusive. What's funny is that I haven't really read any of the questions that I wrote down. I don't think I have to. And the funny thing is one of my questions was: is science real? Should we believe in experts? Is space real?
Science might be real in a certain sense, but like at the same time, it's what science you pick. You know what I mean? Like for me, science is much more esoteric, and to begin with, it's more like alchemy. It's like kind of like to do science, to do like an experiment that's scientific, you have to have the scientific method.
Exactly.
And so it starts with a
hypothesis.
With a problem.
Right.
Like you pose you divine, like you're like what's this is what, and then you have a hypothesis. You have this sort of like you sort of have to. It's all about the question that you're asking.
They're asking all the wrong questions.
But the point is that like anything that you ask, then you can do the scientific method.
Right.
You can't do science without doing the divining first. So it has nothing to do. Like I mean, it has nothing to do with the science. Whether it has to do with the questions that you ask to prove the science. Mm-hmm. But it's more about what you ask than it's even the science.
Yeah.
It's I mean like it takes a genius to sort of like anticipate the answer first too. And then test it out, as part of the whole thing. So that's what like that's like what Einstein did, Like I mean, he like asked certain things, and then it's like then he proved them in a certain way, or so we think, if you understand it. But like I mean, but the point is that like you can really just do that with just about anything. I mean, it's just kind of like I think that whatever humans conjure up, life is what you make it. Mm-hmm. Literally, you're just making You're making the philosopher's stone again. I mean, you're turning shit into gold. That's what humans do. Yeah. When they're not basically ripping a hole through, radiating, killing the evidence and burning a ray of. I think that's what we also do. Is like anytime like humans like look at something or think about something for too long. Yeah. We would destroy it, and it basically just like it's like we have got like rays that are coming out of our eyes, and like we have to like keep scanning so that we don't actually kill the fucking evidence that we're looking at, and if we can't like look at it for too long, or else this like layer will it'll burn a hole, and then there'll be another thing behind it, and behind it, it just goes on forever. It's just like there's no end to it. It's like just because we're killing off anything that we think that we know.
Well,
I think humans are extremely stupid, and that's the only thing that keeps us alive. That's the only reason why we're on the planet. Yeah, we haven't figured out. Nobody's figured out how to destroy us in one fell swoop.
Yeah,
we can kill off a lot of people, but not everybody.
It's true.
So it's kind of like it's kind of like a foregone conclusion. It's like
I think with regards to the science stuff, it's really interesting that we're living in the most informational, we're living in an information age.
Babylon.
Babylon. No, it is that though, and we're living also in the most incurious time in human history, where we have all this information and everyone at the same time is extremely incurious. All they're really worried about is being entertained until they're dead, But not only are they incurious, but they're pretending to be curious, which is like the worst combination. Is you're not curious, but you're pretending. You're virtue signaling to everyone else out there watching that you care about the rainforests in Brazil or Australia that are on fire. And you care, but also you don't really care enough to really look into it and see if you're being lied to about it.
And they don't.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's a world full of wrongness. Like people are just wrong. So and people are very, very high on themselves. And I think that's because people are hard on other people. I think that people really, get so upset at other people for what they do because because that's the metric that they use to judge themselves. If they were to look at themselves and have a little self-reflection and awareness, they would hate themselves because they hate everybody.
I think they do hate themselves.
So obviously their attitudes are completely fucked up. And if what people need to do is basically not try to look at themselves in a light that makes them a monster, because then they will be able to look at themselves. If they look at themselves and they say, okay, well, here are my faults. These are things I got to be honest about it. This is what I can do. If you integrate properly, you can, and then you can be easy on the rest of the world too. Well, you can be easy. You won't be afraid. You won't be pointing the blame at everywhere else, because you'll be able to actually own your shit, dude.
Well, they killed shame. We're not allowed to shame people or judge people anymore.
No, but that's because they are the biggest shamers. What I'm saying is shame is a terrible thing, and people want to vilify people. They want to be so fucking. They want to have they get off on it. They get off on knowing that on seeing a bad guy down. They just flog him.
Oh, and there's no such thing as redemption or people changing.
There's no such thing as just basically as deeds rather than just generalized writing off of people. You know what I'm saying? People just want to just talk shit on everybody. And I mean, I don't have anything against Democrats, really. I know I sound like I'm super.
I do.
But I ultimately I do too, only because I know that they want my head on a stick. So, but I don't wish them any ill will. I wish them the best, and I want them to succeed in this world. I just think that that they're. I start to sound like I'm just a devout Christian after a while. And
aren't you celebrating Christmas?
Yeah, and I am a Christian.
You're a Jew Christian.
Yeah, I mean Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah, I feel like they're the same religion. Honestly,
they are.
I'm a Jew. I feel like,
and so and Muslims also believe in the same God as the Jews. They all believe in the same God.
Yeah, the prophets are all different.
Yeah, but it's the same God. He's the youngest God on the block, the last one with the biggest stick that got rid of all the other gods.
Yeah.
He thinks he takes all the credit for creation, but he's like the son. I kind of think I think they all are the same God. I think the story of it's a wonderful conundrum. It's like a Rubik's cube. You'll never figure it out. They tell it to you when you're before you have any chance to really refuse it.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I think
screws
that
you up for life. Yeah.
Regardless of if it's real or not, or if it's true or not, I think it's so important because it's a way to mobilize the whole world into identifying with one certain thing. I mean, we have all these people.
It's called values. It's values.
Exactly, but we have these. It's funny because we have globalists right now who want to do that, but on the other side, where they want to mobilize the whole world to believe in one thing, but what they want
they want to make revelations come to pass.
Yeah,
because they're such terror. Because they're so because they're non-believers, but they're not. They're obviously just Christians that lost their faith. That's all they are. They're not atheists. It's not like they're scientists or they're pragmatic people. They are Christians that lost their faith. They're refusing. They're making the Christian prophecy come to pass. You see, if I didn't believe in Christianity or in the New Testament or whatever, I would believe in the book. if only because like that's not what they predict is going to happen in the book. So I would be completely like making sure. But if I would do everything in my power to not contribute to the thing coming to pass if I didn't want to believe it. So that's the conundrum of the thing. But like they are making it come to pass, even though they know that like that they're going to make it right. They're going to make it completely right, even though they don't believe it. But they're going to be. It's kind of like the Stay, Ghostbusters, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
It's like don't think about an elephant. It's like don't think about anything I'm saying. Like oh fuck. It's like it's a conundrum. It's like it's a trap. It's a trap. But I think that like honestly like human beings we could totally exist if we never learned a word when we were born. We would be perfectly happy. We just wouldn't be like we wouldn't be having any of these conversations or thoughts or any of these hang-ups or
no, it would probably just be hunting.
We'd be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the smartest human beings to ever exist probably were in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I think literally all the problems we're facing today they're created by us. Like,
Well, created by them. Created by them, though. I mean, like, I think it started with like some genius caveman, like fucking like coming up with a name for somebody. Like, I mean, like it's like Fango.
Well, I'm sure like tribalism is ingrained in us, and that always existed. And
but the idea of like actual like proper nouns and the idea that of words that like across that identify things across bodies. So like I mean like ducks quack, you know what I'm saying? Like they if they will learn a word, they don't really transmit it to like their offspring. Really, it just dies with them. So
right.
So that wisdom is lost. I mean, it starts over every time. It doesn't get very far.
Right.
We would probably be like ducks. If we said ow ow ow, goonga goonga or whatever. but having like names and ma and pa and all that kind of stuff really takes it into a new level.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But those are all the first words, probably. Ma and pa.
Yeah, they are. Well, I'm gonna see. I'll check back with you in I don't know, like when do kids talk? Let's just say in 9 months.
When's your kid? When's
February.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So he's like he's coming out, man.
Yeah, he's almost here. That's why all this is important.
What's his name?
I think we're gonna name him Julian.
Okay.
So that
Julian Casablancas.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
Well, we like the Strokes, but we don't like their politics. I'll just name him Ariel Pink.
Let's save him.
Well, I don't know Julian. You can save him.
We can all save him.
Okay, well, that's your mission after this. That's my mission for you to, save the Strokes. I like them. Well, we're pretty much done, but I wanted to. A lot of people on the right and the young right, they like John Mouse, and you're working with him on something, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he almost I think he almost got canceled.
No, he did. He's been quite a few times.
Because he was on $1 Million Extreme. He was on Sam Hyde's show.
Yeah, but then they canceled him.
They canceled Sam.
No, they can't. Like Sam canceled him in a weird way because they.
I have to check with Sam. I don't know.
No, I'm sure he doesn't see it that way. But really, they had to basically like change the song. They had to change it from. They couldn't do the cop killer song or like that because it was already being. I think they
on the Adult Swim show.
Yeah, I think that they had to sort of like. I don't know if they got. I don't know if they got canceled. If Sam got canceled because of that. But that was one of the conflicts that was at Adult Swim, and I think that they like made a compromise that sort of like swapped out the song or something like that. I'm not sure, and that was really and John was not happy about that, and he sort of got snubbed by Sam, like after when all was said and done, and they wouldn't talk to him anymore. But then Sam, like had his canceling and I remember listening to the Tim Heidecker show when he called in and
yeah, Tim Heidecker's one of the worst, most insufferable people here.
But what was he expecting? I mean, Sam was obviously too too hopeful or something like that? I mean, like, is obviously like, I mean, he sounded genuinely upset at like, you know, the sort of like the sabotage.
Yeah.
But like, what did you expect, dude? Like, I mean, like why did you think that could, that you?
I think he called him in just because it was funny.
Did Tim call him in?
No. I'm pretty sure Sam called him.
Yeah. So he was the guest on Tim's show.
Yeah, like, well, Sam made himself the guest. He called in and said, "Why'd you get me canceled?"
But I don't think it was funny. I mean, I could hear the pain in his voice.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
No. But I could tell he was just like he was. It was like he. It was like a kind of like a moment when he was just like he got like it was like a stab in the back, and it was like he all of a sudden. It wasn't a joke anymore for a second, and I
maybe,
and I feel like I mean he's dealt with it great. I mean he's that stuff's gonna hurt, you know. Mm-hmm. How could it not? And I'm sure like you know Tim Heidecker was just like, yeah, no, I'm sure it hurts. You know, but sorry. Yeah, you go. It's not up to me.
Yeah, it's like so easy.
I'm sorry, it hurts. I know it hurts a lot. Yeah, I know it hurts. Sorry.
And it was all him.
He was just so satisfied, so just like I don't consider Sam a bad person at all, and I don't think he's deliberately done anything wrong to anybody. You know, I think that he's said funny, offensive things that like you know that are just you know sort of taboos, and he breaks those taboos, and it's a very, very good commentary.
Yeah,
that's it.
He's probably the best, one of the best comedians right now.
I think he's. I don't even think of him as a comedian. I think he's just a very, very, very good, astute critique of. I think he's like he's a guru for.
He is. When I interviewed him, we didn't start the interview right away. We did Muay Thai in his parking lot. You know, I think he wanted to see what kind of a man I was.
Yeah, or maybe he was just joking with you, or you know. I mean, I like him. I think he's great.
The last thing I wanted to mention, and then I think this is pretty good.
John is by the way is 1,001% on team Trump, man.
Does he live out here?
Yeah.
I think he's super talented. When I first heard his stuff, I thought it was from like 30 years ago. I thought I didn't realize he was a recent, you know, current artist. I don't really know much about him except a lot of the young people on the right love him.
Yeah, because he's great.
What are you working with him on? Music, or like was it merch or something?
Yeah, we have a web shop up. We're trying to capitalize on, you know, on the work that we've put in over the years, and since we both don't really like have career mindsets and stuff like that, we have labels that you know don't that exploit us and you know and sell merchandise and make money off of us. We just realized that we were just being idiots by just.
Did you just launch it?
We just launched it, but it's sort of a relaunch of like an older project that we had, demonstration bootleg of something that we did in the 90s. And
oh, cool.
And we had like a blog at the time, and in 2003, and we lived together for a while. But we had like we were like a blog / label / just brand kind of thing, and then it sort of ended, and we just sort of ended up doing our own thing, and so we're just bringing it back and we're trying to get it back up and running, but we're just pretty bumbling about it, you know.
No, get it done. I'll buy a T-shirt. I'll replace my Biden shirt with it.
We're trying to bring it back to the States right now. It's sort of it's got British pricing and shipping costs, and it seems it's
all there.
Well, it's his man. Yeah, it's kind of a complicated thing, but I'm bringing it back here. I'm gonna have a vendor just take a cut and basically they supply the orders. We don't want to do any of that. We're just lazy bums, both of us.
Oh.
We're not merchants.
You're a Jew. You are one. It's in your blood. Come on.
What merchant?
Yeah, of course. We sell things.
I'm definitely the Jew in the scenario. I'd say I've pretty much ripped his head off a few times.
Good. Yeah, just act more Jewish.
I'd be like, Be like, I thought this was between you and me. Get this Chris Tipton off of this fucking. What the fuck? Who's this guy? Yeah, no.
The last thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm gonna skirt around it because I don't know if we're allowed to even reveal it. The thing you're working on in Texas, are we allowed to talk about that or no?
No.
All right, so just let me know and then I'll tell them when that is. But can I still go? Can I go?
You want to go to? You can go to Texas.
Yeah, when you go. Can I go when you go?
Can we go when you go?
I'm gonna butt my way into it. I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I think you're probably gonna miss Julian's birth if you.
No, you're going in January, aren't you?
No, dude.
Shut up! You're lying to me.
February.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
Yeah, you are. Okay, well,
nothing's happening in January. You know that.
Trump is staying in office in January.
Yeah, that's why.
That's how we came full circle.
So we're gonna stay here.
Interview.
We're staying here till.
Okay, well, we gotta be safe though. He stays in office. Shit's gonna go down.
Well, I'm gonna hightail it as soon. I'm not gonna be here. This is gonna be.
Where are you gonna go?
Austin.
When? All right.
I mean, I'm gonna just move there, just hide out. Either that, or I'm gonna go to Rwanda. Like I said.
I would love to see that happen, and to hear what people have to say about going to Rwanda
or China. Like I said, like I think Hong Kong is really.
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't. As your
Wuhan.
Jewish friend, I say no. Wuhan. I think that's it. Is there anything that you think I should ask?
No.
We kind of covered it.
Covered
it all. You guys are music people, and you're artists. No, we're good. We did it.
Was that all right? Was that boring enough?
No, it was good.
Okay. Cool.
I think it was good.
Okay.
But who knows? I don't know anything. I think that's a good way to end it. I don't know anything. That was Wrong Opinion with Ariel Pink. I guess maybe I'll play one of his songs. I don't.
No. Just
whale sounds.
Just
enjoy whale sounds. I love you. Bye.
Bye.